Hey everybody, it's Jillian. So I understand now what fear and bravery mean. Oh my God. I have always been like manipulated by the words fear and bravery. You should be in fear, you should be brave. Um when I was in the military, going to basic training, being brave when I would, maybe I'd get into a physical fight with somebody a long time ago, and it was brave of me to be in a physical fight with somebody. Fear and bravery are used to manipulate people into walking into conditions to become a sacrifice. I mean, you hear the media say brave soldiers. Oh, the brave soldiers walked into an ambush. The brave activist went up against this. This brave person went up against that. Oh, you should be in fear of this. You should be in fear of that. And even with the JJs, some of the JJs crowd that don't really understand JJs, they're all fearful. And they're fearful because you hear it in their voice. That's why I've stopped people from posting to my group that don't understand how to characterize symptoms, because I know they're coming from fear or bravery. And when you're coming from fear and bravery, it means that you lack enough intelligence to actually know what you're doing. You haven't conceptualized the consequences and ramifications of your actions and what you must experience if you're going to partake in some kind of protocol or whatever, or enter into some kind of contract. And so it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense why people seem to have issues once they bypass their first lines of defense and they ignore their gut instinct, and then they end up working against themselves. So, when someone's fearful and they're doing the J juice, they'll stop it or they'll use antibiotics, and so they won't win it. They won't win. They won't be in it to win it. Okay? When someone is fearful of anything, like a virus, they'll go and do the latest solutions on the market without fully understanding what it is they're doing and why they're doing it. Okay, when someone's brave to face a therapeutic, knowing in their gut that they don't fully understand the therapeutic, and so they can still get it anyways because everyone else is doing it. So they're being brave, taking one for the team. And they're all so fearful because they don't know what's going to happen. Here's the thing, when you're brave and when you're fearful, it means you don't fully have the intelligence. And that's not like saying you're stupid. It's like you don't have the intelligence, the data to understand fully the outcome and the what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it. And you can't even substantiate or even anticipate any of the ramifications because you don't know what they are, because you chose not to be fully engaged in how the world works. You're listening to somebody else, even with me. That's why I always get annoyed when people are fearful of the J-Juice or fearful of getting off the J-Juice. Oh, I can't get off the J-Juice. Well, why not? Because, and you see the fear in them. Let me tell you, if you've been on the J-Juice for over a year and you're afraid to get off of J-Juice, you don't fully understand your world that you live in. You don't fully understand your body. You don't fully understand the viruses. You don't fully understand evolution. And so it works on both sides here. If you have any fear of any choice that is presented in front of you, and if you have to feel that you're brave, it means you lack the data, the intelligence to understand fully what you're doing. And then here's the thing, you will destroy yourself. And that's a really trippy thing, because remember, I'm writing about my J juicers who have been doing waterfalls for however many, months and years and whatever. Some are doing it faithfully, some are doing intermittently, but you probably still did many waterfalls. And you reset your body, and that's great. You reset your body. Now here's the thing. Now you got to feel the pain. Now you got to feel the pain of your autoimmune disorder. Now you have to feed your body all the food in the food supply with no discrimination. And you got to let mucus come out. And you got to get the poop out without using J-juice. Okay? And there are many ways to do it. You just got to learn how to learn your body and learn to put it in different positions to get the poop out, doing whatever you got to do it. And some of you are, yes, obese, or you have a lot more weight to you, so it's not easy to get into weird positions on the toilet. But, that's where you're going to have to figure out. But, fear and bravery means that you lack the data. And so when I said, yeah, when someone stupidly is brave and stupidly, is fearful, and I'm mentioning Democrats, Republicans, yeah, because people are entering into wars that are not their own. Anytime that you do something out of fear and out of bravery, you're entering in a war that's not your own. Wow, it's my war. I mean, if I'm entering into like chili juice and it's my war, no, because there's a war inside of you that was perpetrated on you way before I came into the picture. There was a war in your body way before the J juice. And so it really isn't your war. You've been reacting to somebody else's war inflicted upon you, and you've been reacting for freaking decades. You haven't fully owned the war that's inside of you. And nobody out there that's either avoiding the therapeutic or taking the therapeutic has ever owned the war that's inside of them, because they lack the intelligence. Why they lack the intelligence? Because they lack the nutrition. Because either they're washing away with J juice, or they're avoiding food, or they're taking their antibiotics, or they've taken out organs and limbs and whatever. And so they lack the intelligence to fully understand the war that's inside of them that wasn't started by them, but they're reacting to it. And that's what you're seeing right now, is everybody out there reacting to the war that is not their own. They haven't owned their shit, literally. And so, yeah, that made total sense the other day when someone, when I saw something about being brave and about being fearful, I'm like, oh, that makes sense, because, yeah, you're going, like the whole thing with the Normandy. And the reason why is because people are being ambushed by the virus. They're being stupidly brave, going out there like, oh, nothing's wrong. I'm not going to wear a mask, because you know very well that masks do sort of work. Sort of. Because I saw it when I had the sneezes when I went outside because of pollen. I wore a mask for a couple of days when I went outside to take my dog out, because every single time I went outside with all the pollen going, I was sneezing up a freaking storm. So I'm just like, holy crap. So I know some of the masks work. Not 100%, but it does work a little bit. So anyway, so people going out there with this virus, like in Florida and other places, right? And they have to wear, you have to be sure, maybe you show you have been vaccinated or not. Okay, fine, whatever. But there's breakthrough infections. There's other stuff that, you're not going to be able to protect yourself because you don't have what it takes. You're still reacting to a war that you never started. And so people are out there doing that stuff. They're going out there in activism, and they're being ambushed by a virus. It may not happen that day, but when because you don't know when your exposure was, and then when your body's going to react to it. Because remember, you have a sluggish body. But when it finally does react because of, let's say you drank some coffee and you didn't have the strength, let's say you have a heart condition and you have a virus inside of you laying dormant, right? And so you're not doing the J juice and on the J juice mentality. And so you're out there playing around, and then now you caught this virus, but it hasn't done anything to you yet because your body is sluggish. Oh, and then you activate your body in some way. Maybe you ate some food, maybe you drank some coffee, and then bam, that virus activates. And so it could be a food trigger for someone for a heart attack, stroke, or aneurysm. It could be so many different triggers. So things are laying in your body dormant, waiting for it to get triggered. It's like, landmines. That's what viruses are on people's own bodies that have major predispositions that don't understand their own war, is they have landmines all over their body. And it's going to take it won't matter what it is. It'll be pineapple juice. It could be a piece of food. It could be walking from the bathroom to the kitchen. You don't know what's going to set off those freaking landmines. And so that's what fear and that's what bravery does to people, is they get ambushed. They get ambushed by the medical holistic system. They get ambushed by the freaking viruses. They get ambushed by their friends and family who are like, oh yeah, no big deal. Get it or don't get it. Yeah, come on out, have a party, let's hang out. Right now, I don't even want to go to places that I don't know people, because I don't want to feel responsible that I know people. Because if I know people and I know their conditions, I don't want to go hang out with them. Because I don't want to be responsible for anything that happens, because we know what's coming this fall. It's already been put out there. You're seeing it. You're seeing narratives that have been withheld from you And you're like, well, why, how can you say that only the non, therapeuticized are spreading around? Now they're saying now it's the therapeuticized are spreading stuff around. That ought to freaking alarm you. You shouldn't feel joy in them finally releasing that. Yeah, you might feel a little bit like, smug that, yeah, you were right. But I would rather be alive wrong than dead right. But here's the thing, it won't even matter, if they put it out or not, because the outcome is still the same. So I'm just going to say, that until you own your own war, until you own everything, you're going to be in fear. You're going to be brave. You're going to play I'm the martyr. And that's what brave people do. And that's what fearful people do, is they become the martyr, the sacrificial lamb, the human sacrifice. If I may be so bold to actually talk about human sacrifice. Human sacrifice comes off the backs of those who are foolishly brave and foolishly fearful, fighting another man's war. They don't own their own war. And they're too afraid to get off the teat, and they're too afraid to get on the teat. When they need to get off the teat, they don't do it because they're fearful. And when they need to get on the teat, they're too afraid and fearful. And that is a euphemism that is very appropriate in the J-Juice world, as well as out there of those who are withholding food from themselves. So I get it. Because I know I'm not brave or fearful. I'm just like, I know what's going to happen if I go and hang out with a bunch of people all the time. It's going to be a lot of freaking evolution that I don't really feel like dealing with, because right now I'm trying to write a book. And it's still kind of annoying because my husband, which I love my husband, but he comes home all the time with bringing home, stuff, which, okay, I get it. I have to deal with that. So that's enough. So I take naps every so often, or shit floats through my freaking neighborhood. So imagine I'm around like 10, 15, 20 people. Half of them therapeutized, half of them not, or none of them are. And they're all just, sick, is evolving, but they're also depleting. And I got to go and take that on? No, I really don't feel like it. Not that I'm fearful, I just don't feel like being home and sleeping for a couple days so I can recover from that. So I'll pick and choose the events that I want to go to. And there's going to be only one event this summer, and that's it. And so, I just, and I know I'll have to recover from that, but I'm prepared for it. I'll do what needs to be done, but it's an event that I must go to. And so that's the thing. It's not about being fearful or being brave about what it is that you're doing and encountering or taking on. It's the fact that you know what needs to be done and you do it. And so you need to see the indicators. If you're scared to get off the J-Juice, then yes, you don't have enough information. And not because I'm not giving it to you, it's because you lack the conception. You lack the data. And the reason why you lack the data is because you keep waterfalling out the food out of your body. You lack the data because you're not bringing in the energy in your body. You lack the data because you're starving yourself. You're medically starving yourself, politically starving yourself. Oh, I can't eat meat and I can't eat milk and I can't eat this. Only fruits and nuts and twigs. Well, yeah, you're fearful to get off the J-Juice and, whatever, because you lack the intelligence, the nutritional data to say, hey, you must know that this is your war, but you're not fighting your own wars right now. You're still fighting somebody else's war. Every single political stance you take, every single, argument that you take on, it's not your argument, because guess what? You never thought it up yourself. You've been reacting to it ever since day one. What's day one? Ever since you were born, you've been reacting to another man's war. A rich man's war, a poor man's war, your mom and dad's war. It was never your war. Ever your war. And so when you're reacting to someone else's war, you're going to be brave, and you're going to be foolishly brave and foolishly fearful. And then guess what? You will overdo J-Juice or underdo J-Juice. You will overdo food or underdo food. Can you really overdo food? Yeah, because you're not bringing in another source that's going to balance it out to take off some of the covalent bonding. See, it's all about balance. And that's one of the hardest things in the J-Juice world, is once you get a hold of J-Juice and you love the effects, considering our society, everyone wants to be skinny. Everyone wants to look like they're healthy, right? It doesn't matter if they are inside, they want to look like it. But in this environment, you can't afford to play those superficial games. And so if you're not in the modeling industry, then it's not about being skinny and looking cute and all that stuff. It's about survival. Models survive on living next to nothing. And, they're kind of the sacrificial lambs, because if there's a big virus in the environment that's going to cause them some kind of symptom, they don't have enough to their body. And so they'll feel something, right? Then they take the J juice, because there's some models are doing J juice. And they'll keep taking off more substance off their body. They'll still keep to their skinny body, yes. But how long are you going to do that? Remember, the crypt keeper. You either end up looking like Jabba the Hutt on your deathbed, or you look like the crypt keeper. And you have plenty of evidence to see what people look like on their deathbed, because you know your friends and family and your mom and dad, sisters and brothers and grandma and grandpa. Okay? So I'm going to end this right now, but I just want to say, if you are fearful or if you are brave and you're afraid to get off the J juice or afraid to get on the J juice, you're afraid to eat this food, or you're being brave to not eat this food, or whatever it is, and you can try to pretend that you're not, oh, I'm just doing what needs to be done. I need to stay on the J juice. You know, if you've been doing waterfalls for at least 3 or 4 months, you can get off the J juice. Even an obese person. All they need to do, they do some waterfalls, yes, and they eat food. And they got to get the poop out. And they got to keep training themselves to get the poop out. Okay, how much do they do of J juice? Well, that's the thing. When someone's obese, that's a lot of covalent bonding they have to get through. If you're that obese to where you're like 200, 300 pounds, most likely you have a major condition that might be life-threatening. And so, yeah, you'll have to keep doing J juice. If you're just chronically obese, but you don't have a life-threatening condition, yeah, you probably can do J juice for a while until you start seeing some difference. How long of a while, I don't know. But a lot of you are not in that way. A lot of you are relatively proportional. Yeah, there's a few vanity pounds and whatever. You don't need to be doing J juice so you can become skinny. Okay? And so if you are relatively proportional, but yeah, like I'm relatively proportional. I have a few vanity pounds, but I'm not trying to lose that vanity pounds. I don't care. Okay? You need to realize that you need the substance. And so now you must find other ways to get the poop out. Coffee and cream, double shot espresso. But you need the substance, especially in this aggressive environment, because it's very aggressive. And we have a lot of foolish people out there that are thinking that J juice is going to save them. No, J juice is not going to save you, because if you're going to overdo it, it's going to defeat the purpose. And you think that the therapeutic is going to save you. You think that avoiding this food is going to save you. You think eating this food is going to save you. If you have to be saved, and this is where I have to start looking at my language. If you have to save somebody, it means that you want to keep them ignorant. And you'll be the one to make decisions for them. Anytime someone feels they have to save somebody. And I've used the word, well, the reason why I'm doing this book is to save you the heartache. Well, I need to change that, because I'm not trying to save anybody. I'm just trying to organize information so that way, you can put your struggles to something that is useful. That's going to be not time consuming. And so I need to reword some of my things, But the reason why I'm writing a book is that way it will redirect your energy so you don't have to keep doing all this research. It's about redirecting your energy. That's why I'm doing this book, so I can help redirect the population's energy so they're not all fighting over stupid information that's already out there that everyone wants to fight over. Oh, they said this, they said that. There's two sides to every equation. And then when you supply a narrative on each side, say, okay, well, if you go to the left, it means your life, and you go to the right, it means your death, and then it's vice versa, then you're always going to be at each other's throats. No one's going to be finding anything. And so there has to be some kind of, root level foundation laws to understand of life and death, so you're not fighting over people's versions of life and death. So if you have to go save somebody, it means that you want to be all-knowing and you want to keep them in the dark. And that's not either. So saving, brave, and fearful are the three words that are not really acceptable in the Jeju's world, because we're not trying to save anybody, and no one's trying to be brave, and no one's trying to be fearful. And I'm going to write that down. Save, brave, fear. Okay. All right. I got to go. Talk to you later. Bye.